Good morning, watch nerds. Firstly, I should point out this isn't my watch, and I'm just looking after it whilst a new bracelet arrives. For this reason, you'll see some light scratches caused for everyday wear. You see, a friend of mine bought this watch with the original oyster style bracelet, then decided he wanted a Jubilee, but bought one with the straight end links. Unfortunately, it wasn't possible to fit the curved end links to it, so I've now ordered him the version with curved end links. This is confusing, isn't it? Anyway, I'll fit that when it arrives. Meanwhile, I'll take advantage of the fact that I've got this watch in my possession, and I'll review it for you. At this point, I'm going to upset some people, tell you I think Seiko as a brand are overpriced and underspec'd. Spend a similar amount on a micro brand, and you'll buy something considerably better, although you won't get the history and brand recognition some people crave. Different strokes for different folks, I suppose. I do, however, own the one Seiko, which is an alpinist with a mountain glacier dial. This watch is absolutely stunning, although technically it's quite average. The 6R35 movement is only the 4R35 movement with the longer power reserve, and isn't very accurate. The bracelet is quite average, but at least they put sapphire crystal on it, albeit without any AR coating. New, the watch would have cost over £600, but in my opinion it's worth about half of that. Of course, move up to a Grand Seiko and we're talking a real watch, but then you have to sell a kidney to buy one. Despite all of that criticism, I very much enjoy wearing it, and it looks great on the wrist. This is my watch of the day. It's the Batavi Cosmopolite. And isn't it beautiful? I'm talking about beautiful things. There's Amy. Seiko don't tend to overdo things in the packaging department. It came in a plain white box with a cushion, and here's a picture of it. So let's start with the dimensions. The case is 42.5mm, the lug width is 22mm, the depth 13.5mm, and the lug to lug is 46mm. Because of the design and relatively short lug to lug, it wears a little bit smaller than that. I would say about a 41. Inside the heart of the watch beats the 4R36 movement, which is an upgrade to the earlier 7S26, which didn't hand wind or hack, whereas this does both. In watches that aren't branded Seiko, it's called the NH36. It beats away at 21,600 beats per hour. It's got a power reserve of about 42 hours. The stated accuracy is awful, but in reality, they normally arrive running a lot better than that. So let's see how this one's performing on the time grapher. There we are, it all looks very healthy. It reads 0 seconds per day, but in actual fact it will probably run a little bit slow. I'm familiar with this movement. The amplitude reads 260, although it's not fully round, it will probably read about 275. And the beat error is 0.3, anything under 0.5 is quite respectable. Although the watch has an appearance of a diver's watch, this only has a water resistance rating of 100 metres and has no screw down crown. On the subject of crowns, this one isn't signed, but its chunky 6.5mm diameter and very nice knurling makes it easy to use. Amazingly, the bezel lines up perfectly, which isn't always the case with Seiko. Seiko bezels have quite a strange action, but when you get used to them, they're okay. It's a bit spongy, but the resistance is about right, although there is a little bit of backplay. It's easy enough to grip, and whilst the insert is only painted steel, the gold intersects look nice against the orange dial and the gold painted hands. Fortunately, I don't have the original bracelet, but I'm happy to tell you about it. It's an oyster style bracelet with fitted hollow end links, push pins for adjustment, and a press clasp with 3 micro adjustments the same as this. It's acceptable, but that's about it. The one you see on this watch is a genuine Seiko Jubilee. Like all Jubilee bracelets, it's very comfortable, but like the oyster style bracelet, it's nothing special. Buy a micro brand for the same price and you're going to get something a lot better. Whilst we're on the subject of price, one of these is going to cost you about £300 if you buy it from an AD, but about £200, £250 if you buy it online. In actual fact, have a good look around and you'll probably get it cheaper still. I'm not sure what they call this case, but I would describe it as a turtle case only without integrated lugs. I suppose that makes it a cushion case. Like I said earlier, the case shape does help the watch wear a little smaller than dimensions indicate. It's fully polished, and it's polished to a pretty good standard, to be honest with you, and it's got drilled lugs for easy strap changes. For some strange reason, Seiko decided to put an exhibition case back on this watch. I've absolutely no understanding why, and can't see the sense behind it. Like the front crystal, it's made for hard legs, which in reality is just mineral crystal. It screws down to help the already mentioned 100 metres of water resistance, which to be fair is enough for 99.9% of us. Now, apart from the name on the dial, why does anybody go for one of these? Well, it's the dial, which by the way comes in several different colours. For me, this sunburst orange is the one to go for. When my friend's wearing it, my eyes keep getting drawn to the watch, and that alone makes it worth the money. Now, there's a minute track on the chapter ring, then beneath that there are large applied indices. A day date window at 3 o'clock, whilst under the 12 o'clock it reads Seiko 5. Above the 6 o'clock it simply reads automatic. The sword hands and indices are filled with Seiko's proprietary lume, Lumibright, and this thing glows all night. Now let's have a look at that lume. So in conclusion, what do I think? I've often said that a watch is a sum of its parts, and I stick by that. However, it's impossible to forget its aesthetical value, and that's where this one wins a day. Forget the below average bracelet, the OK bezel and bog standard movement, it just looks so damn good. So would I buy one? No, but that's only because I prefer smaller watches. Now this one does actually come in a 38mm version, and it's called the Midi. So if a good used one comes up, who knows, I might invest. Now that brings me to the end of this review, so if you've enjoyed it, please click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, leave your comments below, and please enjoy the rest of your day.